Super Sugofest King of Hell Zoro will be making his debut in One Piece Treasure Cruise in less than 24 hours. Zoro is one of the most popular One Piece characters ever, so many players are excited about his release, including myself. Are we overvaluing him though because of that? Or is he really a very good unit? This double question is precisely why I wanted to make this video, going over facts that are good, bad, and even ugly about the upcoming Super Sugofest Zoro. If you are in a dilemma on if you should pull for him or not, this video can definitely help you out. So without further ado, let's get into it. We all know so far that Zoro is a very unique unit because he has a Captain Action, and we haven't seen a unit with a Captain Action for years in the game. In case you missed my breakdown video of this Zoro, his Captain Action has 4 states. The base one, Seethed, the Enma one, the Enma Unleashed one, and finally the Weakened state. I don't really believe there's anything ugly about his Captain ability, therefore we are going to do the good, the bad, and the Unleashed. Stuff of course available only in the Enma Unleashed state of his Captain ability, which is the best one he can get to. Let's begin with some positives though. He provides very good cooldown reduction for Strength, Dex, Q characters, but also Free Spirit and Slashers. If you have both the color and the correct class, then you get 3 turns of special cooldown reduction just from Zoro, which is very good when entering a quest. He is a very good Free Spirit attack booster, and Free Spirit is by far one of the best classes in the game, with many valuable units in its disposal, not only for damage, but also more importantly for Zoro's case, utility. At 1.5 times of boosting, he is also a very good HP booster, which is actually important because when you are in the Enma state with this character, he consumes a certain percentage of your HP. He makes TND slots beneficial, always good to have beneficial slots, and in some Enma states he also makes all type slots beneficial for himself. And finally, he is a Wano slot enabler, meaning that just from his Captain ability, if your units fulfill specific requirements based on the state of his Captain Action you are in, they can get a Wano slot, which is awesome. In his base form, unfortunately, it can be pretty annoying because the character attacking needs color advantage and to have a TND or RCV slot, but in the Enma and the Enma Unleashed state, you just need to attack with color advantage, which is considerably easier. There are 2 sides to every coin though, so let's talk about the bad. He is pretty ghost dependent, meaning if you want to get the maximum out of him, you need to transition into the Unleashed Enma state, and for you to achieve that, you need to consume and fill up the ghost meter with 10 Wano slots. This is definitely more manageable because he is a Wano slot enabler, as we discussed, but at the same time, still not easy to achieve, especially in shorter quests like Kizuna for example. And on top of that, unfortunately, each turn you can only consume up to 5 Wano slots, meaning that if you have a full board of Wano slots and you do a full team attack, the last and 6th slot won't count towards the meter. That might seem like a little thing, but it can be proven important in specific quests. Of course, it is not the end of the world. And to be fair, to enter the Enma state, the second strongest state, you do not need to consume any Wano slots or meter, because you immediately have access to it when you enter a quest. On top of that, when you are in the Enma state, it is considerably easier for you to get Wano slots to of course transition then into the Enma Unleashed state, simply because you can just attack with color advantage and you do not need to have your mind on what slot the attacking character has. Zoro is also HP dependent because when you are in the Enma state, then you are losing 50% of your maximum HP at the start of every turn, and when you are in the Enma Unleashed state, you are losing 60% of your maximum HP at the start of every turn. And of course, if you cannot give HP anymore to fulfill the Enma requirement, then you are going to be in the weakened form, which is a very bad state to be in because Zoro is essentially a horrible captain. He's even worse than a rare recruit. Finally, for the bad, he is also class specific, only boosting the attack of Free Spirit and Slashers, which is pretty common in One Piece Treasure Cruise, but definitely still noteworthy since it is a limitation. And of course, the Unleashed characteristics, only things available when you are in the Unleashed Enma form after consuming 10 Wano slots, but he gets increased damage taken application even through immunity, which is awesome when he attacks with the correct slot, either Wano or TND. He gets universal color advantage, meaning he is a rainbow attacker. He has color advantage over every single color in the game. And finally, he ignores damage limit up to 2 times the limit, which marks the first time ever we see something like that in One Piece Treasure Cruise, but in my opinion it is not as impactful, won't be used that much, and it is definitely not on the level of the other 2 perks. Let's now discuss about the rest of his abilities except the Pirate Rumble ones, meaning this includes his special, sailor, super tandem and support abilities. Starting with the good, he can provide a 2-turn 3.25 times attack boost, which is very strong, only for Free Spirit and Slashers. He can also provide a 2-turn 2.25 times conditional attack boost. It is specifically against enemies with increased damage taken, something he can apply to the enemy through immunity in his Unleashed Enma state. A strong conditional attack boost, of course. He can provide TND slots to the crew. He can increase the power of said TND slots, making them equal to Wano in power. And he can even guarantee Wano slots 1 turn after his special is used, if of course units attack with color advantage, which can be extremely strong. For example, in a situation where we transition to the final stage and the preemptive there would provide us with block slots, now we have Wano slots in all or some specific units and we can evade getting block slots. Of course, Zoro, if in the Enma Unleashed state when the special is activated, can get a guaranteed Wano slot no matter what, because he has color advantage over every enemy. And that is the reason that Zoro manipulates Wano slots into TND, making him the first unit to be able to manipulate Wano slots. He also has one of the strongest super tandem effects in the game, and he has a pretty useful support. For the bad, he is providing an attack boost to specific classes, as I said before, only Free Spirit and Slashers. He can be pretty increased damage taken application dependent, so you can get the full part of his special, because if you do not apply increased damage taken, then his conditional attack boost does not take effect, which means you lose a big part of his damage. Thankfully, he ignores immunity in the Enma Unleashed state, and other characters in the game can ignore it as well to apply increased damage taken, but for you to get everything out of the damage he can provide, you do need to apply it somehow. Another negative is definitely the fact that he cannot manipulate block slots. He can avoid block slots if someone has a Wano slot on the crew, but unfortunately he cannot manipulate block slots himself with his special. He is also lacking utility outside of slot manipulation. He does a bit of damage coming from his special, which can help him be attached with more supports that can provide utility, but he himself doesn't provide much in that area, hence why he is a damage boosting focused unit. And finally, his early super tandem levels can be considered to have a pretty harsh requirement in order for you to activate super tandem, because you need 3 of the characters that are listed in his super tandem in levels 1 or 2, either any Straw Hat, Yamato, Oden, Hiyori or Mihawk, and even at levels 3 and 4 you need 1 Slasher or Free Spirit and then 2 of the characters I mentioned. While this is definitely a negative, it is not the biggest deal just because the Straw Hats are available in his requirements, and they do have a lot of units in the game, but still, in my opinion, for his super tandem to be considerably effective, you need to at least have it level 3 or 4. Even boosting wise, level 1 or 2 is not the biggest deal, because the super tandem attack boost is at 1.5 times and then at level 2 1.75 times. So it probably shouldn't be the main focus when building a team, depending obviously always on the content. And for the ugly, he has no super type or super class available to him. So no special and no extra stats by activating the super type or super class, which is very unfortunate, pretty bad in my opinion, because in a lot of cases, you would need to pair Zoro up with another unit that can provide super class or super type, for you to gain that extra damage. And I do understand that the captain action mechanic is what makes this unit unique, but at the same time it is very bizarre to me that we have a unit like this Zoro that is so focused on damage boosting and damage output and big numbers, not have a superclass or a super type ability. And of course, I did not have expectations of something crazy like a 3-turn ore boost or 7 turns of threshold removal, but something should have been there. Maybe 1 turn of special cooldown reduction for free spirit and slashers. Maybe a buff of plus 0.25 to an already existing ore boost. Or the best option, in my opinion, would have been to give him another boost that is not that high and can be overwritten. It's a new type of buff they introduced recently, but I do not understand why it was not used on this Zoro. You can have him provide an 1.75 times ore boost that can be overwritten by a higher one, or since he does get color advantage over every enemy at his Enma Unleashed form, you can give him an 1.75 times color affinity boost on Free Spirit and Slasher, or Strength, Dex and Q, I guess depending on if he is a super class or a super type. Definitely the thing that disappointed me the most in this Zoro, as someone who has been waiting for his unit announcement months before the anniversary. So is this Super Sugofest Zoro an overhyped unit? I don't think so. To be honest, I think I have seen more praise for the new king that is coming out from the One Piece Treasure Cruise community than I have seen for this Zoro, which might also be because we always have high expectations from Zoro units. I have always, in my time playing this game, have been waiting for a broken Zoro unit. I don't think we have seen it yet. That applies to this Zoro as well. In my opinion, he has some very obvious flaws. Does that mean he is a badly designed or an overall bad unit? Absolutely not. I still believe he is a strong unit, a good unit, and definitely one that is very interesting if we take into consideration his captain action. At the end of the day, the best advice you can probably hear is pull for this Zoro if you like him. No unit in the game is a must-have anyway. I tried to give you as much ammunition as I possibly could in this video with the good, the bad and the ugly. Hopefully that helped you out to make your decision, and tell me if it did in the comments down below, and what is your thought process before the Sugofest comes out. As always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.